Yep.
Ye old Beyblades. Like what's the slogan of Beyblades? Hit me.
Oh God, I don't know. I know of them. I don't know the slogan of them.
Are you seriously?
I seriously do not know. My kids
I
watch
s-
the shows, have the toys. I know nothing beyond the spinning discs.
Let it rip, Jeff.
Okay.
I said it to you. Not like
I thought you were just being you. I didn't know it was the slogan of the show.
the adult beverages are poured, the kids are asleep. Welcome to New Dad Gaming, a show about fatherhood, gaming, and new fathers figuring out their gaming lives. My name is Trevor, and I have a 3-year-old and a 6-year-old.
And I'm Jeff. I have a 10-year-old and an 8-year-old.
Quick question for you. How many Sonic characters can your kids name?
Right now, let's bring them down here and they can rhyme them off for you.
It should be noted, Jeff's kids are asleep, but he will shake them awake.
Absolutely.
To bring it up. But the Gaming Dad Victory of the Week, we were sent this by a good friend of the show, Blue, and that's at Writer's Review on Twitter from the Story Mode podcast, an excellent podcast, friend of the show. But she came across something sent to us saying, hey, Gaming Dad Victory of the Week? And absolutely. Why don't you explain what we're seeing in the video?
So we have a video with his a dad reading with his son a Sonic book with all the characters plastered on the back, and this little kid is going through all of them one by one, naming them exactly who they are. It's perfect Gaming Dad Victory. I should show this to my kids and be like, remember when you could name off all these characters? Now, this is great.
So perfect. Now, this should be mentioned. So this is Games with Coffee, and that's at Games with Coffee. Great account. And what really made me think about is at some point, like my kids, nothing as advanced as Sonic, because they have some really wild characters in their extended universe, but it was more during their Paw Patrol phase. Their ability just to rifle off characters. I don't know if you had the same with Pokemon or some other such property.
Oh yeah, we had Paw Patrol and we had lots of Pokemon. Lots of Pokemon were in my house. So yeah, there's a lot of names that were floating around and fired off. My kid wouldn't stop talking about them. So,
but then you turn around and you're like, all right, well, what's 2 + 2?
Completely no way. Yeah.
But then there's this Sonic, and then there's this.
Yeah, that light switch is not on yet.
Well, I can't say that about this dad. I know at my house it was always just his ability to memorize cartoons or games or that type of thing. But then you turn around like, all right, let's spell your name. It's like, I think that might very much be a different snare in this house, and I bet it is.
Yeah.
Especially when it's such a great dad. So, hey, Gaming Dad Victory Week, for sure, Games with Coffee, at Games with Coffee. And again, big shout out to Blue from Story Mode PC or podcast for calling that one out. And keeping with Twitter, a really kind, nice shout out from Irish Tom at Thomas_K_H. We had shared a clip recently of our Minecraft adventures / misadventures, which
struggles.
And I had recently shared a video. I don't know if you have a similar experience where I had spent a decent amount of time creating the house that he'd asked for.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Mined out the side of a mountain, added a bunch of glass panes, everything else. I leave for what felt like just like 20 seconds. And I come back and he's hatched 1,000 monsters. Like the biggest, most grotesque things in the world. So we'd built this indoor house.
Yep.
And he's like, you know what would be great here? Some chaos. Woo! Every monster in the game, just like, let's throw them in there.
That is
fun.
That is just a future vision of when you leave the house and you come back, you're like, what's with the party? Where'd everyone come from?
Or just even a mess, basically, with kids. Like, you leave a room for a moment, come back, and it's just
destroyed.
Kids, it is not physically possible for you to have taken out this many toys in the time that you had since I left the room.
No.
But, I mean, I digress. Irish Tom, thanks so much for calling us out on Twitter.
Yeah.
Lots of new listeners coming in these days, and it's been so amazing to interact with anybody. If you have a Gaming Dad Victory, if you have a quick shout-out or story, we would love to hear from you at New Dad Gaming. Give us a shout-out. One more time, Irish Tom, thank you so much, at Thomas_K_H. But speaking of my kid, who is massively destructive in Minecraft to my beautiful creations I'm trying to do. The little man turned 6.
Nice. Happy
Little
birthday.
man, I have a 3-year-old and a 6-year-old now.
Yes.
I did it.
You did it. Yay, it's a milestone. That's great.
Now, we counted a couple episodes ago how your gift fail of Mario 3D.
Right. Yeah.
All
Thanks
stars.
for the reminder. Yes.
Just bring that up every episode.
Right.
your $80 sadness.
Mm-hmm.
The I thought I might have a potential one on my hands. Curious if you've had a similar situation.
Okay.
4 weeks away from his birthday, he starts in on a very specific focus, King Kong versus Godzilla.
Okay, yep.
He's drawing it all the time. He's watching shows about it. He's talking about it a lot. What do you want for your birthday? Oh, I want King Kong and versus Godzilla, like action figures. What do you want for your birthday? I want King Kong versus Godzilla, like constantly. It felt so specific, and it felt so new in a sense that this is coming up 4 weeks before your birthday.
Yeah.
This is the thing that you want. Like this is you were laser focused on it.
Yep.
So it's a big win if by the time your birthday shows up you still want it, or it's a massive fail. Like if you've forgotten about it.
Yeah. You have to ride that line. Otherwise, yeah, you totally swing and a miss. Yeah. And he's like, why do I want this? This is 4 weeks ago, Dad. I don't want this.
Who's this monkey? I don't.
Is this Donkey Kong? Is this who you call Donkey Kong now?
Oh, go to your room, son. So, but fortunately, he adored it. It was exactly what he wants. Just like flipped his lid, and it was one of those dad riding high moments where it's like you said, you're just on the edge, and it's like we're far enough that you could definitely, totally have another best and be all by the time we arrive to your birthday.
No, I'm glad it worked out. That's again stressful when you have that hiding in the closet and he starts talking about something else, and you're like, no, we're still on this, right?
We still like this, don't we?
Quick, Amazon, return it. I don't know.
The other thing we got, and I want to know if you had any of these in your household, was Beyblades.
Oh yes, yep.
Ye old Beyblades. Like what's the slogan of Beyblades? Hit me.
Oh God, I don't know. I know of them. I don't know the slogan of them.
Are you seriously?
I seriously do not know. My kids watch the shows, have the toys. I know nothing beyond the spinning discs.
Let it rip, Jeff.
Okay.
I said it to you. Not like...
I thought you were just being you. I didn't know it was the slogan of the show.
I'm embarrassed for you, Franklin. Let it rip, Jeff. Come on. Do you know what the yellow Pokemon's called, Jeff? Do you know anything?
Let it rip. It has a lot to it, and I'm surprised my kids haven't used it at the dinner table or anything else. So thanks for that teaching moment.
Yes, sir. Yeah, so got into Beyblades. Again, it felt like he's at a good age where he'd actually be able to appreciate it. I was sort of surprised how actually fun these things are, because it's not soft or like very plastically or cheap. Like these, you pick them up, they have some decent weight to it.
Yes, they do.
Right, and they slam into each other, they battle, they can just fly apart. Like the actual act of putting them together, the various pieces, and then physically letting it rip, giving it the pull and getting the spin. Like it's reminiscent of a few games I had as a kid. I think there's one where it was like a hockey game and you'd spin a little puck.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Until it goes fast enough, it would shoot around. So there's something to actual metal, actual weight, and then being able to interact and have just spontaneous, chaotic combustion like happen within it. So I don't know if you guys had a positive experience with them, with your guys.
We do. It really depends on the mood of both my boys. So initially it'll start off great. We have quite a few of them, and again, like you said, they're really well built. Like you can't break these things. They're very solid. The stages, on the other hand, is just like the ones we have are just like this plastic mold that is probably used for something else. But they love them, or did love them. They're out of them now. But it would always turn into a bloodbath in like maybe 5-10 minutes tops, because someone would get mad that they went first, or they didn't go fast enough, or somebody's always winning, blah, blah, blah. But they had their enjoyment out of them. So it wasn't always terrible, but it was a good time. And it's a pretty simple thing to pull out and then push back into a shelf or something. Like it's not this enormous, like crazy setup kind of thing. So it's pretty simple to get down and play.
Yeah, something about that physicality and the range of motion, like the spinning, the gyro. I want to say gyroscope, but I think that's a thing, not a motion. The gyroscopic motion.
Yeah.
Like there's just something vastly fascinating about them. So it was really cool about it. The kit we got them only had 2. And it was like this triple layered arena thing, which was a bit too complicated to really get the action in. So,
right.
So I went back to where I came from, the streets.
Yeah.
As it's one. But so immediately just go and find on some. The kids were enjoying it. I wanted to kind of promote it. I wanted to have a few more options. Kit we had only came with 2. Okay, let's get a couple more so they can have a bit more fun. Find one online for sale. Some 6 extra Beyblades, a bunch of other rippers, and an arena, like a very basic, simple arena, like $20, $30. So next thing you know, the kid wakes up in the morning, super stoked about all the presents he had. Can't wait to play Beyblades. Oh my God, there's all these other Beyblades. Where these come
They
from?
multiplied. Yeah, no, I'm totally with you on that. That's how we got ours. It's just that that black market in the alleyway. That I think it was a bag of Beyblades with stages, and it was just handed over and the money exchanged. And
Oh yeah.
my kids have tons of them now. So.
You just imagine like the back alley dealer with the trench coat that just opens it up, and he's got it's just got every little piece of them laid out. Like, what do you want? It's like, do you have Black Thunder? Ooh, that'll cost you. Come back with me, kid.
Come play me for it. Let it rip.
He's got his arena in the back alley. Dad, where's all my Beyblades? Listen, son, I'm not very good at Beyblades.
You should have taught me. Yeah.
Your dad sort of lost it all in this black Beyblade alley. I'm very sorry. It was just fascinating, and I just had to chuckle about the secondhand purchase of them. Like you said, just a bag of Beyblades from a parent, like who probably in your similar situation where kids got super into it. Couple years pass and it's like I'm super out of it.
Yeah, no, and I will be there if my kids let them go, and I'll just FedEx them to you because I don't want them in my house anymore. So I'll be one of those parents again.
Perfect.
Just take it away.
I don't want to hear these spin. I'm tired of standing on these things.
Yeah. Oh God, don't ever step on them. That is a new dad gaming tip. Don't ever. These will pierce your soul. Like they are not good to step on.
Well, if you do it really well, you just start doing a pirouette, and spinning around. Yeah. As your kids laugh and laugh.
Yeah.
Now, this actually relates to a tweet that you had sent out that your solution to a situation was fantastic, and I want you to describe that. But the fact that the situation existed is heartbreaking to me because I think it's kind of emblematic of a lot of things going on right now with physical items and collector's items and just honestly things that kids love that are kind of being ruined. So if you could kind of go through it for us.
Yeah, so part of that tweet was, again, my kids are really into Pokemon. Again, they can name a lot of Pokemon. They could for a while, even when they're younger. And we, much like the back alley Beyblades, we got a whole bunch of Pokemon cards from somebody. And they got really into Pokemon cards, the actual physical cards. They got the guidebook to go with it so they can name them all. So now they got all these cards, and then, they want certain characters or certain packs, and they see more and more Pokemon being released. So we're like, okay, now's the time to use your birthday money to go and get your own Pokemon card pack. Well, this is like a shortage of water or something. Like they've cleaned the shelves off online, virtually in the stores. Nobody has Pokemon cards. Nobody. They're gone. So... And I'm totally clueless as to why. So I'm like, I don't know. Maybe it's just like something with a pandemic or COVID, whatever. Like they're not getting the shipments in. No, nobody has it. So my solution, or part of it, was for them to draw their Pokemon cards.
Awesome.
So as like a, here, let's like kind of misguide their attention because they're kind of defeated, right? Like they get their money out, they're ready to spend it. It's a big purchase for them as a kid.
Oh, the fact
they're not cheap.
It's like the joy of purchasing is awesome, right? Like at the moment you decide to make a purchase, you've saved up. It's the reward for all of your studiousness. So it's like all right, I've saved up. Like I'm ready to go. This will be great. I get to buy it.
Yeah.
Oh, a bunch of scalpers or whatever else have bought these Pokemon cards. And it's just, and there's your kid like, oh. Okay. Yeah,
and it was just again defeating, and again we did misdirect them into drawing their own, but it was before the show when we were kind of talking about this. It was you brought me up to speed saying, there's a whole thing going on with Pokemon cards because I didn't know about how they're just I don't know, they're just everybody's at them so that they can resell them or whatever. There's a market for them. Like it's purely on the busting open packs and seeing what value they get.
Yeah, so I can't pinpoint. It's not like I'm an investigative journalist that's breaking this case wide open or some nonsense like that. But what I do know is that there was a gold rush on sports cards right?
Oh,
So old
yeah.
basketball cards, old baseball cards, like whatever you'd want to call it, right? And not the man's not to blame for it, but like Gary Vee, a very popular online entrepreneur, has a very large social following. He kept espousing it, like, you guys are missing out. Like, you really need to get into cards, like trading cards. So like, hey, I bought this one for like $50 and I just sold it for like 2,000. Like,
Oh,
money,
geez.
money, money, hustle, hustle, hustle.
Yeah.
So even with some of the social conversations I was seeing, you could see that uptick. All of a sudden, everybody's watching, everybody's trying to hustle with trading cards, sports cards. What I would imagine would be is that after that space becomes super like competitive, it would eventually bleed over into any other kind of carding, any other physical collector item series.
Okay.
And what might be ripe is something that has a whole big nostalgia push too, because these are cards, like these cards were around when I think we were in high school when these things came out.
Yeah, they were pretty popular then too, right? Like it was around that time. Oh, God, that's so long ago. Don't age me here. Like,
Yeah.
what are we talking? 20, 30 years? We're talking 30 years ago now, aren't we?
So we had memory. There were some of us who would have grown up with them, actually
Yeah,
playing it, and there's this
absolutely.
joy to it. And then you maybe always wanted the super shiny Charizard card, and all of a sudden the Charizard. Wow, that's awful. Could you say it for me, please?
Charizard. You want to get my kids down here? They'll say them all again. They'll just rhyme them
I'm
off.
butchering it. Pikachu. So you get this. So you get the shiny Pikachu from
Yeah.
1990, like from the original pack, and you can sell it on eBay for like $5,000. Right. So you go to your own attic, you find them before, but now it becomes this. If you're able to navigate the space, you can make a bunch of money. And ultimately, I just think that's probably where it came about.
I know, whatever. Like it's a shame because I know the market is there for everybody. I get it. Maybe there's like a kids only section that allows them to get first dibs. I don't know. We've seen them. Like, I remember researching them when they first got into Pokemon cards because I didn't want to get any fake Pokemon cards. And there's a bunch out there that are just either misprinted or ripoffs of other ones, and there's ways to tell. And I remember I versed myself in picking out the authentic ones. But then I see my kids like leave them on the ground and stuff. I'm like, okay, listen, these could be valuable, because I remember myself, like you're talking about nostalgia. I collected a lot of baseball cards and football cards, and I remember keeping them in mint condition, and my kids do not. And I'm like, listen, if I kept those cards, because I didn't, if I kept those cards, they might have been worth something someday. Like, I'm doing the dad talk, and it's not working. It's not going over.
If I'm not mistaken, I think I read something where they had not been able to keep up with production. Like, they weren't able to print enough
Oh, really?
to keep up with. Well, like, they're trying, but just like production, because of COVID and everything else, had been shut down. So there's a bit of a supply problem mixed in with everything else.
So it's fine if I just print these off then, right? Myself. I didn't say that here,
like
but
no, you didn't say that on the show.
absolutely. I'll have my kid draw them. There's enough Pokemon to keep him busy for a couple days. So
At least, or print it out or whatever else. But it kind of points to there's been some really large excitement for the Nintendo Switch Pro.
Right? Or the Super Nintendo Switch? What are we calling it?
Oh, the Super Nintendo Switch. Sure.
Yeah.
Whatever it ends up calling the unannounced system that everybody's already going crazy about. And I honestly, what really bothers me is my first thought, and I swear I bet a bunch of our listeners agree, is, oh, here we go again with the scalpers.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
Like, how sad is this? Like, that's the point. Like, I cannot stand to have like a show that's all about kind of being a downer, but I'm very curious about where we go from here.
Yeah.
Because look, there was certainly there would always be a crunch. Like, if you wanted the old PS1, PS2, and 64, it wasn't enough for everybody. So sure, there was a crunch on it, but that was just demand. That's because 50 people lined up in front of a Target or a Zellers or wherever you were shopping.
Yeah.
The night before, and they bought them, right? Like, so it was just like people buying it to use it. Wonderful. Now with this latest console release was the most depressing thing, because every single console was just for scalpers to make money.
Yeah.
Every single one. This was not kids getting consoles, or even like adults who want to play games, gaming dads getting consoles to play. It was just people trying to make a buck, like on the Pokemon cards. And like, how are you feeling now that there's a Switch Pro theoretically coming out?
Well, I think it'll be unattainable for a lot of people. And I think maybe even just one way to semi fix it is just don't launch around the holidays or any other major, because it's usually November launch or around there, right? And people
Mm.
just get jacked up for Christmas because their kid wants it. And then that's where the scalpers can turn a profit easily because there's so much demand for it. Not to say that, every PS5 is non existent today, like throughout the year, but again, it's that defeating kind of like the Pokemon situation, right? Where you have the money in hand, you saved it up. Maybe my kid, has shoveled driveways and mowed grass, and he really wants this thing, and it, as soon as the site goes up, it breaks because it's not even the demand for it. It's just all the scalper bots that are out there buying up inventory for the reason to flip it around, and that's not cool. That's not fun, and that's very much not Nintendo to me.
Mm.
Like, it just seems like everything is going to be this craze to go and get the new thing, along with everybody that just wants to make a quick buck, and it's just going to get worse over time as things go online more.
Do you think there's been enough lessons learned from the disastrous launch of the Xbox and the PS5 that in future we might be guaranteed that people who actually want to play the systems can play the systems?
I don't know if anybody really cares. Like, does Sony and Microsoft care? Like, they sold them. Best Buy sold them. They don't really. I mean, maybe brand awareness where people are like, well, I can't even play your system, so then maybe they're tired of hearing of that. But I hope that they're looking at some way to solve it, or at least maybe it's just accumulating stock in such a way that you can't buy it all at once. I don't know. I don't know how they're gonna do it, and I don't know if they really care at the end of the day. Which they're not your friend or anything. They want to sell every system that they pump out, but I don't know.
I just wonder though, like with the problem to their brand, like if this keeps happening every single time, like already we're discussing how much it sucks, like how disappointing it's going to be. So they're going to come out every generation, next generation of the console, they'll come out if they don't get a handle on this, and they'll say, "Hey, everybody, get really excited for our console." To which I think at some point the market will respond, "Why? Like, that's all going to go to scalpers. Like, if I want it, I have to pay 4 times the price for the first year. Like, I don't care about your new console."
Yeah.
There'll be some people that do, and like the scalpers will make a bit of money, but you have to assume at some point there's going to be this damage to the release cycle of consoles. It's like, hey, we're coming out with a new one. It's like, not that I can buy for 2 years, so what the heck do I care?
Yeah, especially because I'm thinking of my kids where all their friends have PS4s now, and we were very lucky to get a PS5. But my son can't he can't play with his friends in the same way anymore, which is kind of divisive as well. So if you're putting out this console to say, everybody gets to play together, and I think that's literally the slogan of PlayStation if we're talking about them, like for the players, you're already separating them out, right? Like now my kid can't play with his friends in the same way because the PS5 is not available. And I'm not saying like everybody needs to afford to get it. Like, I understand it's, an expensive piece of machinery, but it's not even available. It's not even there. So yeah, maybe brand will be a big thing and people will just not care. And then that doesn't give scalpers a reason to go out. But man, I don't know. It just seems like it'll get worse.
Yeah, I'd like to think that they would want to protect their brand, like try to think about their end gamers that actually have to end up buying this thing. And even as much as they made their money, they sold their consoles. Neat, wonderful.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine anybody at PlayStation or Sony, for that matter, and Microsoft are sitting back thinking, that was wonderful. We should do it this way every single time. You think about the media coverage, all the articles on every single outlet talking about how awful scalpers are. Like, nobody can find it for their kids. Christmas is ruined. Scalpers demanding like $2,000 for consoles.
Yeah.
Like, you would like to think there's a bit of impetus just to do the right thing, and then also brand management. I'm trying to remember the Switch launch. I don't feel, and feel free to correct me, it doesn't feel like scalping was... There was definitely a shortage, because I tried a few occasions to get one unsuccessfully. But I don't remember being a big scalper market. Was I just blind to it at the time?
I don't remember one either. I do remember the Wii was sold out forever because everyone and their grandmother wanted one.
The most popular system ever.
Yeah, but I don't think there was such a... Like, I think the Switch you could wait a couple months and get one no problem. I remember getting them at like a Shoppers Drug Mart, which is just a drugstore. And the only time Nintendo has made it nigh on impossible is when they release those nostalgia mini consoles, and they only produce so many. Kind of like my Mario 3D All Stars situation, right? Those ones, that is the worst.
Yeah, that was that was definitely a scalper situation, but it also felt like it died off where all of a sudden, like, nobody wanted that so badly.
Well, I did, but I don't play with it. So I really wanted it, but no, I didn't.
Okay,
that's not like a console.
Now let's spend a quick moment. I had a fantastic idea on Twitter, if I do say so myself.
Okay.
We're a part of a Twitter chain from @LamerGamer. I believe I got that one right. It's just asking about what surprise E3 announcement you want to make. Just top craziest, wildest thing you ever thought. So I thought, speaking of classic, right? Get this. Game Boy SP Classic.
Can you imagine?
So what this thing is? Think for a moment of the perfect portable console that the Game Boy SP was. Yep. Tiny little square, folds in half, gorgeous. You don't have to update a darn thing. Heck, if you have a warehouse with old ones of them, just use those.
Yeah. Except spit and polish, a little shine.
Except what's on it is it's 100 games. You get 100 of the best 50, whatever the number is. How many were on the NES Classic?
I think 30.
Okay, call it 30 then. Call it 50, 30, whatever. And just in your pocket, right on the little system, there is 30 to 50 of the best Game Boy games in the best form factor there's ever been for a gaming system.
You heard it here first. I think we'll just start that rumor and just make it true, because I think the way Twitter works, we'll just run with this.
We seem to come, as we mentioned in the Twitter comment itself, we seem to come up with a great Nintendo pitch.
They're listening, right? Yeah.
Well, you got to put it out in the universe, and eventually it'll come back around. So that's right. So everybody, keep an eye for that. I think, what was it last week? New Power Glove.
Yes, it was, and I'm waiting for that. Again, E3 announcement coming up, right?
Anytime now. Pro. It's in the universe, folks. We got this one. But trying to salvage a bit of a downer episode because of the current situation I was in with some really great, fantastical future prognation. But with that, we will wrap up the show. Everybody, thank you so much for listening. This has been New Dad Gaming. If you want to get a hold of us, you can find us at our website, newdadgaming.com. You can submit a story. You can contact us. We'd love to hear from you. If you want to subscribe to the podcast, you can find us on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, any of the major podcasting services. Subscribing, rating, and leaving a comment really helps out the podcast. We would really appreciate that from you. And especially, again, we've had a bunch of new listeners come on. We cannot thank everybody enough. It's been so humbling to have a new community kind of sprout out of new gaming dads. If you could spread the word, that would be awesome. And also just reach out to us on Twitter. We'd love to hear some gaming dad stories, what you guys are going through, your ideas on the perfect next console. If you have a solution to the console crisis, frankly, let's hear about it. Yeah. I think gaming dads would have it. Or tell you what, Beyblade strategies. That's right. I want to hear some Beyblade strategies. Make sure I stay on top of my kids there.
Perfect.
Never let them beat me. That's right. So, everybody, thank you so much for listening. This has been New Dad Gaming. And until next week, my name is Trevor, and I have a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old.
And I'm Jeff. I have a 10-year-old and 8-year-old. And just remember, just because you became a dad
doesn't mean it's game over.
Right.